Hi guys, welcome back to Cooking with Teacher Pat. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make hummus. Now hummus is usually served in Middle Eastern or Mediterranean restaurants. If you've ever had falafels or shawarmas or anything, restaurants that serve like pita bread, such as like Greek restaurants and stuff like that, most likely you've had hummus. Now hummus is made from chickpeas, also known as garbanzo beans, and they blend it up with tahini, which is a sesame paste, and other flavorings and vegetables or roasted vegetables. Today I'm just going to show you a real basic one using some garlic. So let's find out how to make it. Alright guys, so the first ingredient that you're going to need is a cup of dried chickpeas. Now I typically like to buy mine at the Indian markets. They have them for a really good deal and they're always really nice. I mean, if you want to go to American market, by all means go for it. What you would need to do if you're using it from dried is you need to rinse them well and then make sure that there's no rocks in them. And then what you want to do is you want to soak them in cold water. You want to have about 2 inches more of water above your beans. And then after a minimum of 6 to 8 hours, I usually do mine overnight. They double in size and they look like this. Okay, now they're not cooked yet. We still have to cook them. See, you can see they doubled in a lot. Almost tripled, right? Now, if you don't want to use dried beans, you can also use canned beans. You would need at least 2 15-ounce cans of chickpeas, okay? The next thing you're going to need is 2 to 3 garlic cloves. If you like it more garlicky, I would use 3. 2 is good enough for me. You're also going to need half a teaspoon of baking soda. You're going to need the juice of a lemon. It's really to your taste. And this is the tahini I was talking about. I just got this one from Sprouts. Any tahini really would do, or whichever one is your favorite. The consistency is kind of like natural peanut butter. If you've ever had natural peanut butter, the nuts will separate from the oil. Kind of the same with tahini, but the difference between tahini and natural peanut butter is once you open it, it has to go in the fridge. So make sure you mix it up real well. And then we're also going to need some extra virgin olive oil when we serve it. And then our seasonings will be cumin, garlic salt or salt. I prefer to use garlic salt. You can use regular salt as well. And then paprika. And this is just going to be the garnish or color at the end. Okay guys, in a medium-sized pot, you want to put your beans, 1 garlic clove, and enough water to cover your beans to about 2 inches above, 1 or 2 inches above. And then half a teaspoon of baking soda, not baking powder, baking soda, and then you want to bring it up to a boil. Once it boils like so, you want to turn it down to a low simmer. I have it about at a 3 or a 4. And then you want to simmer them for 20 minutes. Okay, some recipes boil their beans for a long time. I think 20 to 25 minutes is good enough, as long as your beans are soft. They're soft but not mushy. And they still have a little bit of a texture to it. Kind of like if you were to get a canned garbanzo bean, it would be the same texture. I just don't like mine too overboiled because I feel like it makes my hummus bland. But see here, it's soft when I smash it, and it's not mushy. So those are ready. And now you want to drain your beans. So you want to reserve some of that cooking liquid. I just put mine in a container, but save at least a cup. Don't worry if any of the skins get in there because it's going to all get blended up anyway. So there's the cooking liquid. And then you want to just dump everything in a strainer and just let it drain as dry as possible. Ooh, it's hot. And now we are going to blend it. Right now I'm adding lemon juice to my blender. You can use a food processor too if you like, but I just wanted to show you guys how I would just do it in a blender. It's easier to clean a blender too. So make sure you don't get any of the seeds in there. That's what I was doing with my hand. I was catching all the seeds. And then you want to put in your garlic and your seasonings. Now, you don't have to do this. You can just do your beans and everything in the same time, but one time when I made hummus, I had a huge chunk of garlic in one of my bites. So I just want to, if I blend it up in the juice first, and that kind of makes sure that that garlic gets broken down into smaller pieces, but you don't have to go do this step if you don't want. You can definitely just dump everything in the blender and blend it. I'm just breaking up my garlic into smaller pieces here. And then now all I'm going to do is put in my beans and the garlic that we boiled with it. And now I'm adding the tahini paste. Now, you can put as much as you like. I would recommend using at least 1/4 cup, but it's really to taste. The more you put, the nuttier your hummus will be. So you want to give that a blend. And as you can see, it's really thick. So we're going to add some of that cooking liquid in there. Don't add too much. You want to add a little bit of a time, because if you add too much, your hummus is going to be runny. See, you can see it really helped it go, but it still needs more liquid, so I put in another splash. And then you also want to scrape down your blender to make sure you get all the chickpeas that were stuck on the side too. So you're gonna blend it up and blend it and blend it and blend it until it looks smooth. And then you definitely want to taste it to make sure that your seasonings are seasoned well. And so you can see it's creamy, it's not runny, and it's still thick. I tasted mine and it wasn't salty enough, nor was it sour enough for me, so I just decided to add a double of everything that I added earlier. So the other half of the lemon juice, more garlic salt, more cumin, and more tahini paste. But it's really up to you. I wasn't going to add any more water because I like the consistency that it was at. So I just blended it up, and you just want to make sure that your hummus is really blended well. So we'll see you back in a little bit. Alright guys, so since we were last together, I scraped down the sides of my blender and re-blended it up and checked for and now I'm going to recheck my seasonings, okay? Because the first time I checked it, it actually wasn't salty enough, and I ended up putting a little bit of everything in there, so. So much better. I added a little bit more garlic salt and a little bit, you know, like I said, a little bit more of everything. It has a little bit of a smokiness from that cumin. But that bean, the chickpeas is really creamy in there. The lemon gives it a little bit of a tang. And then, of course, the saltiness from the garlic, right? So now here's what we're going to do. You have to let this chill in the fridge. It does need to set. I mean, you could technically eat it warm if you want to, but I prefer to eat it when it's nice and chilled. So what we're going to do is we're going to scrape it into a platter. I'll be right back. I'm going to go grab one. Alright, so I'm going to show you how I would serve for myself, and then how I would also pack it to chill in the refrigerator, or like if I'm going to bring it to a party or someone's house. So I'm going to scoop some on my plate here, and then you want to just kind of, it's really up to you, but I like to make mine look a little bit prettier. Alright, so the rest of it's going to go in here. Chickpeas are so good for you guys. They're really high in fiber, lots and lots of protein. It has tons of minerals and vitamins in it. I think 2 tablespoons worth of chickpeas is like 4 grams of protein. You know, as you guys all know, my son is allergic to a lot of things, but chickpeas is not one of them. So I try to incorporate chickpeas in his diet. Unfortunately, he can't have hummus because he's allergic to tahini, sesame paste, but you can also make it without the sesame paste too. It's really up to you. Alright, so here you go. Now this is how you would pack it in the refrigerator, okay? You definitely want to cover the top with a really thin layer of oil, because if you don't, it's going to create like a hard crust. So I know it's going to, like, you're thinking, that's so much oil, but you know what? Olive oil is not bad for you guys. Just eat it in moderation. Alright, so, and then as you scoop it out, you know, every scoop that you're going to scoop out is going to have some of that lovely olive oil too. So, okay, you can just do it just like this, but I like to make it look a little bit fancier. So I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of cumin on the top to let people know what they're eating. And then, if you ever go to like Middle Eastern restaurants or even Greek restaurants, you'll see that they also sprinkle a little bit of paprika on there, and that's just really for color. If you wanted to have an even smokier taste, then I would recommend doing smoked paprika. But that's it. And then I also reserved a small handful of chickpeas earlier, so I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle those on top too. And then this, once it cools down to room temperature, you can go ahead and stick it in the oven. In the refrigerator to chill. That's ready to go. And then this is how I would serve for myself. Again, little paprika. This is if you want to get fancy, right? You really don't have to. And then what I would do is, you can eat this with pita chips, you can eat this with warm pita, tortillas, whatever, really, crackers. But I love to eat hummus with fresh vegetables. And 2 of my favorites are cucumber and carrot. So I'm going to try a carrot first. And then all you do is just... Something about a cold, crunchy vegetable in a dip. And I don't feel bad eating this, guys. It's so good for you. Chickpeas should be really one of the world's newest superfoods. If you don't want to cook it, use canned chickpeas. That would make the process even faster. You don't have to soak it or anything, but if you have the chance, I would highly recommend soaking your own beans. Something about the flavor about it. when you get anything canned, it does have like that tin aftertaste to it. These don't. It's all natural, guys. If you spend a little bit extra time, you'll get a higher quality product, right? So anyways, I hope you guys have the time to make this. Enjoy.